Marvel Strike Force. I've got a different video for you today. We're going to talk about value in this game, and I want to do that in the light of you don't max a character day one, but everything else. So it's going to be a little bit of a different video. I've also got a couple more videos planned for this week. I'm going to have defense for season 14, and I also want to talk about the defense for season 14 before they nerf the rooms, and how that changes how I'm valuing characters. If those are things you're excited for, please come thumbs up my video, come like and subscribe. That helps me with the YouTube algorithm so that this channel gets noticed a little bit more. It helps me get closer to being monetized. All of those things would help me out a ton if you guys can do that. Most of you are not subscribed. Let's jump into it. We've covered most of these topics already. You know, we've talked about the Season 14 room nerfs. We've talked about Starjammers getting buffed and how I don't think it's the right way to go. And we talked about the overpower system that comes on Monday. And all of those things are playing into this video right here. And I want to go in game and... Alright, I went ahead and collected the last 4 teams that have released, or / releasing. And let's talk about them. Right now, as you can see, anyone that's not free to play, I'm still unlocking. I've got, you know, Howard the Duck and Havoc not maxed. I've got Daredevil not maxed. Patriots not maxed. I'm still working on these characters. So these are my smallest characters in my active roster. They are characters that don't have their diamonds enabled yet, or we got rework characters. And they have all these characters have couple things very in common with them. First up is they have this text in their kits that say, if this character has 4 or more Starjammer allies, do XY mechanic. And Howard the Duck has it. Every one of these characters almost has it. You know, you look at Daredevil Modern, he's got it in his kit multiple times. So what happens is, on Character 1, these characters don't function. Because when Character 1 releases, we have 2 rework characters and Character 1. And we'll talk about the rework characters right now. Let's go take a look at them. I've got the rework characters also saved. We've got the rework characters here, and there's something very common with all of these when you look at them. We've got 8 rework characters here, and out of them, the fastest character is 120. And he's the best character of these ones. It's Captain Sam. Captain Sam was a great character when he was released. He's still a great character. He's on the slower side in these days as he wasn't before, but he's still an amazing character. But Captain Sam's a tank. Let's be honest. He's a tank, and he's faster than all these characters. Most of these characters go last on their team. That's how slow they are, and they all don't. Most of them don't do anything. Most of them are just a damage dealer, no control. That's all they do, and some of them don't even do that well. Groot's a tank, but Groot also doesn't tank well, so take that for what it is. You know, you look at like what I've done with these characters. I have Ironheart, who I have not leveled to 105. I have no T4s on her. I don't use her. She's useless. Wasp has a stun, but she's also really slow. Again, level 100, no T4s. Not a very good character. I throw her with no warrior or nowhere, and that's what I use her for. Nowhere mostly does all the work. She's just there to do high damage. Punisher does lots of damage, but he's also locked behind 4 or more mechanics. He's super cheap on the G20 side, which is probably his best aspect right now. Overall, I'd say a mid-tier character. Elektra, she doesn't have a kit. She's worthless. War Machine, he's pretty good because they gave him this rework to this ability, which flips then does damage. If he didn't have that, he'd be unplayable. He's not a good character. Rocket and Groot, I'm sure you all have figured it out by now, but Rocket and Groot are basically unplayable outside of their team. Rocket is so slow, and he basically tickles people because they left him... They've given him more damage, so he's finally got 800k damage and does some damage. He's still got really low health, but he's still got a low multiplier, and it just doesn't do anything. And it's a turn 2 ability. He's a turn 2 ability on the slowest character ever. Same thing with Groot. He really just doesn't do a lot. He's still got less health than Gladiator. And they don't want to make rework characters good because they want to sell the new characters. And so I think it's time for us to realize that they aren't doing good things for us right now, and I think we need to value new teams differently, especially in this overpowered world. Because we'll talk about overpowered, but if these teams don't function, if Daredevil Modern doesn't function at release, why do I want him at release? What am I getting for him being at release? Because who are you going to be putting G20 on when you have to think about these characters? Is it going to be the Vigilante team? Is it going to be Liberty or Starjammers? Or are you going to put G20 on Odin and Mephisto? Are you going to put it on Thanos Endgame, who AoEs back at 50% increased damage? Are you going to put it on things like Null or Apocalypse? Like, are you going to put it on the mythic powerhouse characters who really change the matchup and decide how you win matches? Or are you going to put it on this new character who stands there and does nothing? Or are you going to put it on these rework characters that just don't have any kits? So, how do you combat overpower? The way to combat overpower now isn't through tanks and healers, it's through damage dealers. And it's not slow damage dealers, it's fast damage dealers. It's characters with stuns, things like that. Characters like Blade, who come in here and have more health than Groot, more damage than Rocket, and has a ability that double taps with piercing damage. More damage than Punisher, by the way. More damage than Elektra. More damage than all of those characters we just looked at, and rewinds them. He has controlling effects and does damage. We have Oath, who gives extra speed to the team, and then comes in and ability blocks on our turn 1 and does tons of AoE damage. Like, these are the kinds of characters we're going to be using. These are characters that we'll take to G20 immediately. It's not going to be these old characters. So, alright, we've looked at some characters that probably will be G20 that we'd be versing. Let's take a look at the new characters, and do they have a turn 1 or a turn 1 ability that goes early in the match that either controls the game or does high damage? And there's not very many of these that meet that mark. I think Kahori does. I think Luandra does. Kahori has the double basic, or if she's in an energy room, she has her ultimate. Luandra has that ultimate that just decays and deletes everything. The rest of these characters are very modest speeds. Peggy's got a turn 1 stun. Medusa doesn't have anything. Joaquin's got a rewind and gives everybody speed up, which is kind of the enabler for that team. Havoc has a turn 1 stun on offense. Howard has ability blocks in his game mode. So there's a few characters in here that kind of meet that mark because Starjammers makes them fast. But as an individual character, I don't really think that they meet the mark for G20. So they have to punch up in the G20. And I would say there's only two. It's Lilandra and Kahori. The rest of these, they don't really punch up in the G20. They don't really carry their team by themselves. And so, are these teams good enough to fight in the G20 at lower stars, carrying two bozos that are rework characters? And I kind of think the answer is no. And if that answer is no, and we are on the plan of these characters aren't good enough at 5-star or less, then the problem becomes, is it worth unlocking these characters early? Or is it better to just let them slow drip? That's a question for you. Every spender is different, but for me personally, I'm starting to think character 1 and 2 are severely falling off, and it might be more than that. I might be severely underplaying this. I'm not sure. Let's go flip over and take a look at offers, and we'll go from there. I've already pulled up the shop, and we've got the Daredevil offers going on. As you know, I already bought the Core Orb offer. It's no longer here, so I can't even talk about that one if I wanted to, but that's okay, because I don't think that's the best way to be buying a character. We also have the Kraken snack of if you want to buy a character max day 1, and that's not who this video is for. They already are doing what they're doing. It's for everybody else. So we have the Core Orb offer and the Kraken snack. We also have, the 3-star offer, the 4-star offer in two different forms, the full shards or shards and orbs. But we have this offer. This is the free-to-play orbs, and this offer does not initially come out with the character release. This offer is about 7 days afterwards. It just came out this last Friday, and Daredevil was the Thursday prior. This offer, they were running this type of offer back in Astral, and for the most part, I think people were maxing characters faster than they intended because of this type of offer. This is that free-to-play orb that gives 1 to 3 or 1 to 3 character shards, and it is has a chance of giving you a 100 drop. And this was the reason I think they stopped giving this on day one was because people were buying this instead of their other offers. That was how I was buying characters. I thought it was the best way. And I probably don't. This is bad math. Don't take it for word, but I would say I was getting 100 drop 1 and 3 characters. Is probably what I was averaging. I thought it was great. I then felt like battle passes were getting less value. And if this is our new method on how we're getting characters and how teams are going to function, and this is what they look like, I think character 1 and 2 are skippable. Character 1 and 2 are skippable, and you can either not buy them at all and wait for their free-to-play event, or you can buy this offer and collect and either core for the last little bit, or you can go ahead and or core for the last little bit if you miss, or you can wait till the free-to-play event. I think, and then on character 3 would be the exception. Character 3, you can either buy one of the other offers if that's what you normally did, or you can core extra and still get the team unlocked. But there's something else to this. I want to evaluate teams differently too. When I evaluate teams, I also want to evaluate them from the standpoint of, is there a power character on that team? Someone that's very quick, goes first, has an ability blocker stun, that is the linchpin of the team, a character that's going to carry in the overpowered world. Is that team going to be able to function at lower stars against opponents that have overpower, that have diamonds? These are all things that I want to know as we go forward into the overpowered world. Um, but even all of these characters, I'm not sure they meet the mark on when you're fighting into an overpower setting, because it may take more than these generic 5-lock teams to be able to beat some of this stuff. When I start thinking about overpower and things like that, I start thinking about characters like this. If she all of a sudden has 50% more damage fighting down into an overpower setting, she's now at 450k health, 450k damage. She is one of the fastest characters in the game, and she has a turn 1 stun trauma. Things like that may come back into play. Now, and these characters with low stars have to fight into plus 50% damage. I don't know that you can fight in the low stars with plus 50% damage. They're really taking... You remember how they said that we had... And it was going to be a 6 months for... Or, sorry, it was going to be 60 days for a character release. Overpower's kind of doing that. They're still giving us shards, but we can't use the character. They're trying to give that 60-day window back to the Krakens. It's kind of what I think's going on. And I think that because of that, I don't want to buy stuff. We go look at the Battle Pass and take a look at that. I've got that up on the screen now. They took out all the gold and training mats. And when I look at a Battle Pass right now, when I look at this, I don't need Crimson gear. Crimson uniques are nice. I don't need purple ions or ISO, but it's nice because I know we got 4 and 5 coming eventually, which they cut that in half, by the way. I need gold and training mats. That's what I want. And if they took my gold and training mats and cut it in half and then left the same price tag on it, if that character shard number that they have, the 100 character shards they put in there, doesn't give me another star, I don't want it. To me, that's not worth the value. So, I guess where I'm coming to is I might be okay with farming these characters for much longer because I don't think they're going to function even if you have them, unless you have them very, very big. And I'm talking like diamonds. 7 stars. I don't think a 4 star or 5 star is going to function well into a G23 diamond whatever, a G23 diamond Mephisto, a G23 diamond um, Super Scroll, a G23 diamond Null. You get the idea. Um, it's going to end up being kind of rough. So, how are you guys approaching this? Are you going to be changing your spending habits? I kind of think if I wasn't doing videos, I would, and I probably will on the Battle Pass. To me, there's no value left in spending for the mid tier, low tier, mid tier, upper tier, non Kraken food area. There's the value, they've cut it completely out. Let me know if you like that kind of stuff. Thumbs up the video. Come subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.